The sound you hear is what some experts claim to be a Bigfoot scream. Recorded in the state of Washington by a group of campers in 1971, it is regarded as the highest quality audio of the creature ever captured.
Hello! Welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We're glad to have you stop by. We'd also like to take this time to invite you to share your encounter. You can send your stories to the email bfrealencounters@mail.com, where we will feature your story with all of the respect that it deserves. So send your stories in, bfrealencounters@mail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and your great stories soon. Hello everybody, welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. This is your host Chris. Welcome to one of the few safe places to tell your encounter, share your encounter. Let's get the details out, share all the facts of your eyewitness encounter, so that you can get it off of your chest, maybe start healing, maybe get a better night's rest. Most encounters with the Sasquatch people have a negative effect. Now, the last video that I just did, one of the viewers sent in stories where he has not had a negative effect with a family unit of Bigfoot. It's actually been a decent one, which is kind of rare, but it does happen. And most of the time with these type of encounters, people don't tell those because they wish to protect, and they don't want to even let anybody know a general area, because they don't want, quote, researchers, end quote, flooding the area and endangering the whole situation and just ruining it, which has happened more than one occasion. We're going to go ahead and go state by state, continuing on, but I'm also going to include encounters with the Sasquatch that do not involve a sighting. It has come to my attention from the last video that I did, where the viewer sent in that said that he had some activity going on but didn't know, and it dawned on me, yeah, you don't have to have a sighting to have an encounter. And I have been purposely choosing encounters where there was a sighting. I thought it would be better for enjoyment for the people, but a lot of probably most encounters with the Sasquatch have no sighting involved. And we need to have people open up about their encounters to help them, to help others that have encounters. So we're going to begin adding in encounters that do not involve a sighting. And the first one here, we're going to go to the state of Wisconsin, Sawyer, Wisconsin, in June of 2019. Not all that long ago. Now this one reads, I live in Wausau, Wisconsin, and have been interested in Sasquatch my entire life. I have been a hunter for 44 years and know sounds, footprints, and behavior of just about every creature in Wisconsin. I have always wanted to become involved in actively looking for Sasquatch. In 2015, I started researching sightings and incidents in Wisconsin and discovered the northern third of the state had many reports in Phillips, Prentiss, and Price counties, and the Chequamegon-Nicolet Forest. My husband is also interested, so we decided to research areas of some reported sightings. We spent a great deal of time walking around in the Chequamegon Forest off Highway 17 near Winter, Wisconsin. We documented our findings using video cams and photographs. I have a photo of what I believe is a Sasquatch print in the forest near some tree bends, and a small ground glyph that was about 5 yards from the print. A year later, we discovered that the glyph had been modified with additional sticks and limbs. We have a photograph of tree bends and breaks and trees woven together that no human could manage, and since 2015 have actively returned to the same areas of the forest to see if there are changes or anything new. I have also had a response to a wood knock that I did in the summer of 2018. In the area of the return knock is an area that has no homes, roads, or trails. The incident. Beginning in 2016, my oldest sister, my daughter, and I decided to set up camp near Loretta. And each summer, we would spend time camped and actively researching and have many photographs. On June 6 through 9, 2019, we once again set up our camp in the same campground, but in a different site that we had not used before, at the end of the row on the southwest side of the camp. There's nothing for miles behind that spot. We did not see anything unusual when we hiked the Chemekwan earlier in the day, but on our last night, a bear walked through our campsite just before dark, so we decided to hit the bunks early. It was around 10 to 10:30 p.m. when I heard a rustling around the camper. It's a modified camper with a deck that has a zipper tent extending from the camper with a tarp material around the bottom. The creature was crinkling and fiddling around with the bottom portion of the extended porch, making the tarp crackle. I thought the bear had returned and was rustling around camp and expected the camp to be destroyed the next morning. The noise went on for about half an hour and then it stopped. My daughter and sister were asleep. Less than 30 minutes later, a handful of rocks hit the side of the camper, followed by 3 more rounds of rocks, and finally a larger rock hit the camper roof. This woke my sister, who sleeps with earplugs. She later said she does not know why she woke, but I believe it was the sound of the big rock hitting above her head. By then, my daughter was awake as well. It was quiet the rest of the night. The next morning, when it was light, I bailed out of the camper expecting to see a ripped-up camp, but all was as pristine. The first morning at the camp, my daughter set up a hammock behind and slightly to the side of the back of the camper, and when she was taking it down, she found a rock in the hammock. My theory is that whatever threw rocks had to lob them over her hammock, and one either bounced back and fell into the hammock, or pinged off of the tree and landed in the hammock. We were the only campers in the campground, except for a man that came with his rig. He left the next morning. Many areas have tree bends, twists, a possible footprint, all in the Quamagan forest just east and north of the campground where the rock throwing incident occurred. Wow, that's really interesting. Now they never saw the creature, but the encounter was real and had all the hallmarks of a Bigfoot, the tree bends and the rock throwing, of course. And I would like to add this to this. They found a rock in the hammock. I would think, why not consider the fact that it was placed there? There have been other accounts of having a rock placed on picnic tables and other things. When I was young, there was strange happenings around our house. When I was 5, my parents were awakened by screaming outside the house. They said it sounded like a pterodactyl. And my dad ran out because we had just gotten a puppy. It was a collie, and there was a chicken coop fencing around the doghouse and where the puppy was. And there was a wheelbarrow sitting next to it. And my dad went around the side of the garage because this area for the dog was behind the garage, right on the corner. and the thing was still screaming. And he went out there with his pistol, and when he went to the other side of the garage, he said he heard thumping and running and stomping away. He assumed that it was a bobcat that was in the wheelbarrow, which would account for the thumping on the ground that he heard going away, like it had jumped out. But he thought it was after the dog, the puppy. And looking back on that, as well as other things that I'll not get into right now, and ongoing things in that same property, there's probably Sasquatch in the area. And but I said that to say this: there were times when we would get up in the morning and go out, and there would be a rock, probably the size of a silver dollar, just sitting on the top of the car right in the middle. And we could never figure that out. And hearing some of these stories makes me think way back to that time. So that's why I'm kind of thinking maybe Harry put a rock in the hammock. You never know. All right. I do want to take some time, once again, encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Please help the channel grow that way. It does make a difference. Hit the bell notification icon so that you'll be notified when one of my videos gets published. Also, check out the links in the description below. Got some nice Bigfoot t-shirts, coffee mugs, that type of stuff. It's kind of cool. As well as Jeffrey Lilly's books, Blessed and Cursed. Some of the encounters that Jeffrey Lilly had from his youth on up, as well as a book for children about Bigfoot. It's called Bigfoot and Stellar Jay's River Day. Good way to introduce the subject to a child, because we need to teach these children from their youth up of the existence of a Bigfoot, just like we tell them about bears and deer and everything else in the world. It needs to be done. Also, don't forget the Facebook page. It's a private group, Bigfoot Anonymous. If you've had an encounter and would like to reach out to others who have had encounters, that's the place to go. Everything that's talked about on Bigfoot Encounters, or Bigfoot Anonymous rather, will stay in Bigfoot Anonymous. I will not use anything out of there for the YouTube channel, okay? It has private rooms you can go in with others and discuss things. Maybe you can come up with solutions to problems if you have ongoing encounters. I put it out there for people to use it. It's private. Go ahead and make use of it. All right, let's move along here to another incident. September 2003 in Price County, Wisconsin. This one reads, "This is totally unbelievable, and it's happened again. I cannot even believe this myself. One sighting in a lifetime is hard enough, but when this thing shows itself to me again, I'm starting to think maybe it's hanging around in the same type of woodland areas that I do. I'm a pro woodsman, and most of my outdoor treks take me away from all other human interference. In other words, I go where other people do not want to go or will not attempt to go. The reason for this is that in my area, the public are getting more and more populated in the areas that I choose to hunt or just get away. So I travel in deeper woods and swamplands away from interference. Well, as I said, I have seen this thing again. And this time it was about 3 miles from where I had spotted it the first time during hunting season. This sighting was as though it was curious, or that it was following me, staying in the shadows, moving only when I moved. Although this time, at first, it took me by complete surprise. I remained calm and also let myself observe this thing's every noticed action, trying not to let it have any knowledge that I was watching it as well. I would move, taking a slow pace for about 50 yards at a time, turn to my side and kneel down, acting like I was picking at the ground. It would stop and watch me from the shadows. As I move another 50 yards and watched it, it would wait till I would get about another 50 yards, then it would stop and simulate what I was doing. It would crouch down and paw at the ground where I was kneeling. It would continue to sniff at the air and try to catch scent of me. After about an hour of this cat and mouse, it disappeared. I got a real uneasy feeling when I noticed it about 75 yards to my right. It was flanking me. This action made me very nervous. I have seen this with coyotes tracking a wounded deer. The thought ran in my mind that it was hunting me. But this feeling passed as I kept moving on. Again, it would only move when I would move. Perhaps it knew that its movements would be hidden by my coinciding movements. Or it was trying to get in a direction of catching my scent. I kept moving in a southeast direction, stopping every 50 yards, acting like I was digging and running around on the ground, keeping my head down and turning, looking up with my eyes and not moving my head up. I thought it was gone, but noticed it behind an uprooted tree root system, passing through a hole in the roots. It was closer now and was not aware that I knew its location. At only about 30 yards, I could make out its eyes and the right half of its face. The eyes seemed to be the color of a white-tailed deer. No whites, only dark. I moved on, and after about another half hour, I was getting close to an area that loggers had cleared out, and it was gone. I sat in the area for at least another hour, but it did not appear to me again. While I was watching this thing, I got a chance to observe it and notice a lot of its features and characteristics. Its height is only about 6 to 6.5 feet tall. It stays in the shadows, has dark brown hair with blackish streaks, almost like what you could call brindle. Walks with a hunched over, ape-like character. I did not notice any smell, and it made no sound. I'm convinced that this is a creature that with some time I could get close enough to again. No one can tell me that this freak of nature does not exist. It has showed itself to me twice. Great encounter recollection. It's got a lot of nice details in there. And once again, I'd like to make a mention that reading this from the BFRO website. And if this is your encounter and you happen to have stumbled on and listening to this, I want to hear from you. Maybe you have additional insights to relate to us. We can add those in. Maybe we can even talk to you about it. I'm learning out how to do that right now. But anyways, if you are listening, I'd like to make a mention here. Don't find it all that uncommon that it showed itself to you a second time. What we have been learning by listening to encounters from and eyewitness reports of people on other channels and other reports, this is not uncommon. When a person has an encounter, it seems that there are more to follow. It's like they get to know people and they are not as afraid to show themselves to them again. And sometimes they follow them home. Like you said, the curious, they watch us. So don't think it's strange that it showed itself to you again, because this has happened a lot, many times. And I'm sure we'll hear this type of thing happening again. If you're out there and you're holding on to a story similar to this, send it in. bfrealencounters@mail.com. We'll tell your story word for word, other than the cuss words. We'll get the information out. Maybe you can get it off your chest. Maybe you can start healing if it has bothered you, like in most cases. But in any event, details will get out, like the details of this that followed him, and it stopped at the places that he stopped and was scratching and sniffing the ground where this man scratched at the ground. It was investigating what the man had done. This is very, very interesting stuff and behavior from the Sasquatch. It's very, very interesting. And now we have additional information about them, thanks to the submitter of this report. All right, let's see if we can find another one. All right, let's pick up one more here from 1984 in Oneida County, Wisconsin. This one reads, the incident in question took place in the summer of 1984 when I was 11 years old. It was around 10 in the evening, and I was watching TV when all of a sudden some noises like that of a grunting dog came near. The living room window was wide open, and I remember being scared at the strange noises. The grunting noises came by the house, and I turned in the chair and saw a large, dark, upright object pass by. The neighborhood dogs went wild, and a foul scent came with the creatures passing. I was extremely agitated at the view that I got because I knew that it was not a man, as it was too large. Nor was it a bear because of the way it was walking. There were other sightings that night from the neighbors, and we came to the conclusion that it must have been a Bigfoot. My brother, about 5 years ago, witnessed what he swears to be a Bigfoot while driving down County Club Road in Minocqua, Oneida County, Wisconsin. I believe that there is such a hominid creature among us. There have been numerous instances in that area where people have claimed to have seen Bigfoot. There was a strange skunk-like smell, grunting noises like that of a rabid dog, also a large, dark, upright creature observed. Well, I would say that you are believed. These creatures do exist. They do like to walk up and look in windows, and sometimes they smell pretty bad. And the dogs go crazy over them all the time. I mean, the dog is man's best friend. For some reason, a dog is the best alarm system that you can have with these things. But, consequently, they kill dogs. So, you gotta watch that. This was a short recollection of what happened, but just another, sitting watching TV, and the thing comes right up to us. You don't have to be out deep into the forest like the previous encounter was. They will come to us, just like we're seeing here. All right, I want to encourage you to like, share, subscribe. Check out the links in the description below. Leave a comment in the comment section. Check out Bigfoot Anonymous, the private group on Facebook. And remember, we still have some nice weather left while you're out camping, hunting, fishing, having that cookout with friends and family over. Keep an eye on the tree line to see what's keeping an eye on you. We'll see you in the next one. Once again, another great story. Thanks for tuning in. Please share your encounter. Email us, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Your story is very important. We will treat it with the respect that it deserves. Also, be sure to smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks once again. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Watch out for our next video. Maybe we'll feature yours. Have a great day.